So I've seen quite a few posts on Reddit lately about the ongoing Supreme Pharmaceutical stock manipulation, and at first I thought that this was just fluff or just something completely irrelevant. But there's actually very good evidence that shows that something interesting is going on. So somebody has put up a wall and is preventing the shares from gaining price, and as you can see over here, for $1.71, 11,600 shares are being sold. For $1.72, it's 27,100, and for $1.73, it's 1.9 million, which is significantly higher. So somebody is dumping a lot of shares onto the market, and nobody really knows who. I mean, it's likely that this is just one or two people, and in fact, a lot of people on Reddit, they've kind of watched this and they do believe that this is one or two people that they're doing this. So why would this be happening is the real question, because it looks like this stock has had this being done to it for quite a while, because the price of it has not changed for quite a while except this dip. But then after, the price has remained fairly equal. It has dropped a little bit recently, but every stock has dropped a little bit recently, primarily because of the Trump administration announcement. But anyways, so the stock has been the same for about a month and a half now, which is interesting because it means that it was being manipulated for quite a while all the other marijuana stocks have been going up for the most part. This one and Aurora, they both have this same interesting characteristic. Aurora also has at a $2.62 Canadian. They have 1.3 million shares being sold. So somebody is dumping a lot of shares onto the market, and nobody really knows who it is or why they're doing it. Because everybody believes that in the future, these companies will go up, especially once their licensing information goes through, but it doesn't seem like it because somebody out there is selling a lot of their shares. So somebody could also be shorting these shares, or they could just be straight up selling them because they want the profit. But Reddit seems to believe that it might be an institution, that it might be, where is it? Scotiabank, that's what this guy thinks, and he's basing this off of his level 2 information. So a lot of this is based off the level 2 information, the idea that you can see what everybody else is doing. And I looked into that, and according to these three sources and some other ones online, level 2 information is not really too relevant, including on day trading anymore, because level 2 information doesn't tell you everything. Big institutions that have access to level 3 information, they can avoid making their intentions and whatever they're doing, they can avoid making it private. And this makes sense because if you have something like a bank, and a bank wants to invest or they want to sell $100 million in stock, the bank is not just going to place an order in order to do that. They're going to do it in a very subtle way that nobody is going to really notice, and after they've done it, they'll make an announcement. Because if you're a bank and you want to buy 100 million in stock, or you want to sell 100 million in stock, you want to do it first and then you want to announce it. Because if you do it the other way around, like let's say you want to buy 100 million in stock and you make an announcement saying, hey, I want to buy 100 million in Apple stock, people will notice that and people will jump on the bandwagon and they will drive the stock price up, and you don't want that. So if an institution was doing this, they wouldn't make it this obvious. So it's likely that this is not an established institution such as the Bank of Nova Scotia. These guys are worth what, like 73 billion or something? Yeah, if they wanted to do this quietly, if they wanted to offload shares quietly, they would make sure that nobody really noticed. So I doubt that it would be a bank or a big institution. What's more likely is that some individual or a few individuals, a small group that doesn't have access to level 3 information, um, they just had a lot of shares and they wanted to unload them for whatever reason, secure their profits or whatever, and they just decided of doing it this way for whatever reason. Or a big institution might be doing this on purpose in order to have some sort of a reaction from the market. Um, at this point, it's purely speculation because you would have no way of knowing actually who's doing this and why they're doing this, but those are the possibilities. So the fact that the idea that a big institution is doing this is not very likely, because the big institution would do it in such a way that nobody would really notice. So that's what I've got from doing some research. Also, they do have their stock options or whatever they're called. What are they called? Stock warrants, exercise warrants. So Supreme Pharmaceuticals issued some exercise warrants, and you get a conversion price of $1.30. So in the future, in a month or two, these exercise warrants might be mandatorily converted into shares. But the people who have them, they can do it right now. So if the people that have them can do it right now and they can sell them on the market, then it shouldn't be that big of a deal. So I'm not really sure why they're selling so much stock, but the only thing that I think is likely is that this is not an institution. This is just some private rich person or a private rich group just doing something privately because they might have been scared off from this market, or they might be expecting something in the future and they might be shorting a bunch of shares. But regardless, yeah, I don't think that it's an institution, and that's pretty much about it. Anything from, well, including the fact that it's not an institution, anything from there is just pure speculation. We don't really have a lot of evidence other than the fact that 1.9 million shares are being sold at $1.73. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens in the future. If in the future something bad happens to this stock, then that will actually be some good information and some good experience, because if 2 million shares of this stock get sold over the next month, and then after that next month the stock crashes really, really badly, then we'll know that somebody had some inside information and that somebody was doing something fishy. And in the future, you'll be able to make decisions based off that type of information. But at this point, we can just wait and see what happens.